Welcome guys, this is Moo. Moo is a very handsome Dutch belt rabbit. And he's going to help us show some different ways to handle or safely handle rabbits. So rabbits can be very flighty. They are little prey species, and so sometimes interactions can be a little bit nervous, especially when you have a new rabbit or one that might be a little bit more nervous in general. So the best way to handle a rabbit, there's a few different holds that you can use. One of them is called the C hold. And so the way that this one works is I'm just going to put my hand right under Moo's chest, and then my other hand is going to be used just to kind of support his rear end. So let me show you what that looks like. So you just want to kind of put your hand under the chest. I use my pointer finger to go in between the legs, and then my middle finger and my thumb to be on either side of a front leg there. So this is kind of what it looks like. And then I'm going to take my back hand here and just put it right along his back end. So as I'm lifting, I have support of him. Now, the one thing I want to make sure that you see is that I'm not holding on to his feet at all. So my hand right now, I just have open just to kind of let you guys see that. So since this hand here is literally just a seat, so it's just something to help support, so you can kind of gently push the rear end up or let it sit down a little bit more. With the front legs, I'm not holding on to the legs. Again, this is a very loose hold along the chest area, but just to help give them some security. And then the other important factor is that you want to have their backs up along your belly or your chest area. The reason I say that is because this helps stabilize their back. Again, if they become nervous or if they decide to kick, this is the safest way for them to do so. So if they kick, they're not going to injure their back doing so, and their legs are free to kick if they want, and it won't cause them any issues. So this is one of the better ways to move with a rabbit, and also to handle a rabbit, for instance, to kind of look at incision sites or kind of looking at things along the belly area or the feet. So another way that you can hold a rabbit is a football hold, or also known as an elbow hold. So with this type of hold, it's more to kind of cover the rabbit's face and almost cradle them as you're taking them. So what I'm going to do is my one arm is still going to go kind of under the rabbit's chest to start with, and then we're just going to move this bunny right into my armpit. Or not armpit, but the crook of your elbow there. This way their face is covered, the body is being supported by your lower arm here, and then your other arm either goes on the side or near the rear end of the rabbit. This way it kind of decreases visual stimuli and helps the rabbit feel secure. You do want to make sure that the bunny is resting against your body as well, because again, that gives you more control over the rabbit and help make them feel secure as well. So this is just another way to help move with a rabbit in a busy hospital, or to kind of hold them. One of the last ways to help restrain or to hold a rabbit is kind of something that a lot of people will refer to as trancing, or putting them into a trance. Rabbits, when they're placed on their backs, usually will close their eyes, kind of relax, and sometimes this is a way to trim nails, examine incision sites, be able to look at the ventral aspect of them with them nice and calm. This doesn't necessarily work for every rabbit, but in quite a few rabbits it works very, very well. So what we'll do is you're going to gently kind of put your hand underneath the rabbit's chest, and just like you would in most other instances, put your hand along the back end of the rabbit right here as you're lifting, and you're basically going to put the rabbit upside down on your arm. So what that looks like is this. So we just want to kind of cradle that rabbit inside the arms and have them in an upside down position. Again, this rabbit is, at least on my end, on this side, is starting to close its eye a little bit. And it's a way that you can have access to things like feet and toes and the belly, and be able to look at things very quickly and easily. Some people will syringe feed in this position. You do need to be very careful about that because they are upside down, and so swallowing can sometimes be a little bit difficult for them in this position. But again, just a nice way to kind of have them relaxed, tranced, and be able to be examined as well. Sometimes for bunnies, they get very nervous, or they may try to kick or try to escape, either during an exam, trying to syringe feed. There are certain instances where you need a little bit more control, but maybe you don't have another person to help you do that. So one of the ways that you can get this done or have better control of your rabbit is something called a burrito. So when you burrito your bunny, you're not adding cheese or lettuce or beans. You want to have a nice towel, any size towel or blanket, and kind of putting them right in the center of it at an angle. So what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to go ahead and fold this end of the towel right over the back end of Moo here. And then you're going to take the edges and you're going to fold them along his side. So this is kind of creating almost like swaddling a baby is what you're trying to do here. And then you can kind of tighten that up and go ahead and give another fold on this side. This just gives you more control. Now with this type of hold, you do want to kind of use your body or chest to be at the rear end so that you have this kind of attached. And then now you have access to the face. So for instance, for syringe feeding, if you needed more control over the body to be able to do a syringe feed, you have easy access over this mouth and the head. Sometimes the doctor will need to do examinations of the eyes, the nose, the ears, and the mouth. And in some rabbits, this just makes them feel a little bit more comfortable and secure in this way, and maybe a little bit safer. The things that you do have to be careful of is if a rabbit is struggling in this and you're worried, let them go. Go ahead and release the burrito, so kind of opening this area up so that they can go ahead and get out of that. Because they still can injure themselves in this type of thing, in this type of setup, but it is something that just gives you a lot more control over your bunny. So burritos, bunny burritos are always delicious. This is Moo, and Moo is in need of an injection that goes under his skin. So this is called a subcutaneous injection. Sometimes we'll send you home with these types of injections as antibiotics that can only be given under the skin. So such as penicillin, for instance. When we're giving injections under the skin, it is very similar to giving injections to most other mammals under the skin. So ideally you want to kind of choose an area along the shoulder and back area, right around here, okay? So you can kind of gently lift up on the skin right along the shoulder area. With this, you're creating a little tent in the skin, and so this is where you want to insert your needle at, is right into that little tent. So with Moo, we'll go ahead and gently pull up on the skin. I've uncapped my needle, and you want to go right in that little tent. So we're going to go ahead and insert the needle. You're going to feel just a little bit of pressure as you go in. Once you think you're in, just to kind of confirm that you are, pull back on your syringe, and you should get negative pressure. You see how that plunger goes right back after I'm pulling on it? That means that I'm under the skin and we didn't go through the skin, or we're not out of the skin. Then once you're comfortable with where you're at, you can go ahead and give the injection by pushing on the plunger. When you're done and all the medication is in, when you're pulling the injection or the needle out, you can gently pinch on the skin near the needle and gently pull straight out. This here is Moo, and Moo's going to help us show you guys how to syringe feed your bunny. So syringe feeding with rabbits is something that we very, very commonly do. A lot of rabbits end up having either GI stasis or GI issues. Sometimes even teeth issues can cause them to not want to eat. And so we do want to go ahead and give them that supportive care that they need when they're not feeling like eating with syringe feeding. So this is a really vital part. Usually we do this 3 to 4 times a day. And we mix up syringe feeding formula, so there's many different types out there. And the one that we use here in the hospital quite often is something called Oxbow Critical Care. You want to mix it up until it's almost kind of pancake batter type consistency, or oatmeal type consistency, a lot of people will say as well, porridge, but just something that has some movement to it, not too thick, but definitely not too runny. When handling a bunny that's going to get syringe fed, ideally you want to have them on an elevated surface, so countertop, washing machine, something that you have, a little table, and make sure that you have something that has some good grip. So a towel is nice so that they feel secure. When doing the syringe feeding, you want to ideally have the rabbit on the table. Use your body. So you want to kind of use your chest or your belly to kind of have that against the rear end of the bunny. And then you can put both arms on either side of the rabbit. This way, really the only way that they have to go forward is right towards your syringe. So when doing the syringe feeding, you want to gently kind of put your hand under the chin and gently lift up on the head. This is going to allow you to see those very, very cute little rabbit lips and be able to insert your syringe feeding. So when you're doing the syringe feeding, they have incisor teeth right in the front, so you do want to avoid those. They've got a wonderful space here along either side of the mouth. Lifting very gently along the head, kind of putting it close to the lips there along the side of the mouth, and gently putting it inside the mouth. So some rabbits will kind of object to this a little bit, but once you get it in and gently give some food, they usually take it pretty well. So when you're giving the syringe feeding formula, again, just very gently behind that tooth, and give a little bit at a time and give them a little break. So you see that Moo here is swallowing, licking everything up, and getting all that down his esophagus. So little bits at a time. So this process can take a little while. I usually tell people like a mil at a time is a safe way to do it. Sometimes you get a little bit of dribbling from the mouth, either if you're going too quickly with the food, or if the food might be maybe a little too liquidy. You can always try mixing it to be a little bit more thick. But again, just very, very gentle, kind of lifting up on the head, getting it right there under those lips, and giving the food. It's good. Good baby. Good. And then just like Moo's got here, sometimes there's a little spillage, and so you always just want to kind of clean up the sides of their face. You can use a little bit of a paper towel or just the towel that you have along the table here. So if we leave that, it gets really crusty along the lips. So make sure that they're nice and clean. Oh, no, I'm sorry. You did good.